She made America giggle as I Love Lucy's Ethel Mertz. However, Vivian Vance was quietly fuming behind the cameras. True to rumors, she disliked co-star William Frawley. Why did she hate the man millions believed was her perfect comedy partner? Some still call me Mrs. Fred Mertz. Discover why Vivian Vance has always hated William Frawley. Vivian Vance. Vivian Vance was born in Cherryvale, Kansas, on July 26, 1909. She was the second of 6 children. Her birth name was Vivian Roberta Jones. From a young age, she exhibited performance potential. She liked music and acting as a child and performed in school and neighborhood productions. However, her path to fame was difficult. Vivian had trouble with her family, especially her mother. Her mother disapproved of her ambitions and thought performing was inappropriate for a young woman. Despite that, Vivian continued. With determination, she moved to Albuquerque in her early 20s. She started really working in regional theater and took acting classes while participating in small productions. New York City was her destination. She shined there. Vivian appeared in various 1930s and 1940s Broadway productions. Her significant roles included The Voice of the Turtle, Skylark, and Hooray for What? Her talent shone. She had a good musical theater voice, stage presence, and humorous timing. Despite her stage success, she took time to move to television. Theater was her main focus for years. She was exposed to a position that changed her career forever. I Love Lucy's Ethel Mertz. I adore Lucy. Vivian Vance's I Love Lucy casting was unexpected. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz were poised to start the cultural phenomenon. Someone has to play Lucy's best friend and neighbor, Ethel Mertz. It has to be humorous, appealing, and able to compete with Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball influenced casting. With Vivian Vance, she saw something extraordinary. Lucille believed Vance was perfect for the role, even if others thought she was too gorgeous or young. Vance got the role, and they became great friends and co-workers. Vivian played Lucy Ricardo's loyal yet shrewd friend, Ethel Mertz, on I Love Lucy. William Frawley played her husband, Fred Mertz. The Ricardos' landlords, the Mertzes, often got involved in Lucy's shenanigans. Ethel was usually reasonable, but not always. She sometimes entered Lucy's ideas and contributed her own. Audiences liked Vivian's Ethel Mertz. She was approachable, witty, and real. Lucy was a crazy dreamer, whereas Ethel was a sensible, spunky companion. They crafted some of the show's most memorable scenes with this balance. Behind the scenes, Lucille Ball and Vivian Vance became friends. They were trustworthy, supportive, and had real chemistry on film. That bond boosted their performances. Their relationship was one of the show's emotional cornerstones, and fans loved it. Vivian Vance got famous. I Love Lucy revolutionized television. It made Vance famous, but also presented complications. Personal challenges. Vivian Vance's personal life wasn't as happy as her acting. Many of her 4 marriages were rocky or short-lived. Her marriages repeatedly ended in heartache, which affected her mental health. Vance also had mental health issues. Depression, which wasn't discussed then, plagued her throughout her life. Fame, personal troubles, and entertainment business pressures stressed her out. Public perception was another concern. Vance played an older, less handsome, and less glamorous persona on TV. Despite Vance being in her early 40s when the show began, Ethel Mertz was portrayed as a fat, middle-aged housewife. This altered her off-screen image. Vivian was aware of this image and was disturbed that the public grew to link her with Ethel so closely that they couldn't tell the character from her. In Hollywood, where looks and youth were important in casting, this was a major issue. While successful, the role may have hindered her prospects of acquiring more varied and significant work later on. Vance performed well despite the challenges. She never showed her hardships on camera, and gave her everything in every moment. Ethel Mertz haunted Vivian Vance after I Love Lucy ended. Her television career included numerous seasons on The Lucy Show. She never totally abandoned the character that made her famous. Vance wants more serious parts. Drama was her goal, possibly returning to the stage full-time. But casting directors and producers often saw her only as Ethel. The people anticipated her to be plain, witty, and second to the celebrity. For someone with more to contribute, this was irritating. She also felt her appearance was being exploited against her. Vance was cast as the witty friend who didn't shine, while Lucille Ball remained gorgeous and central. Vance said she was upset in interviews. She wanted to be seen as a versatile performer, not just a sidekick. She continued working. She has several TV guest appearances, theater plays, and modest film roles. But nothing matched her I Love Lucy success. After her final marriage, Vivian Vance moved to Connecticut with John Dodds. She kept a low profile and focused on her health. Her late 1970s breast cancer diagnosis was tragic. She died at 70 in 1979. Vivian Vance created one of television's most memorable personalities, yet she struggled with personal issues, enormous goals, and dissatisfaction. Next, we'll examine William Frawley, her on-screen husband, and why they were so tense off-camera. William Frawley. William Clement Frawley was born in Burlington, Iowa, on February 26, 1887. A working-class Irish Catholic family raised him, and he attended local schools. His interest in showbiz began early. He wasn't sure if acting would be his full-time job. Frawley was a court reporter and stenographer before entering show business, but performing always drew him in. Frawley entered vaudeville in his early 20s. Comedy, music, and variety acts were prominent in vaudeville. He briefly worked with his brother. Comic skits and songs. He later performed solo and temporarily married pianist and actress Edna Louise Broyette in 1914. He loved the stage longer than his marriage. Frawley wrote and performed his own music. His comedic timing, wit, and crowd work were well known. He performed more after his vaudeville triumph. He gained popularity in the 1920s and 1930s by appearing in Broadway plays. His theater success got him to Hollywood. Frawley began working in films in the early 1930s when the business was booming. He became a trusted character actor who brought depth but didn't play the lead. Make a tale colorful. Frawley played strong characters, cranky sidekicks, and streetwise buddies well with his gravelly voice, stocky frame, and no-nonsense manner. I Love Lucy found William Frawley with nearly 100 film credits. In Miracle on 34th Street, he played a political counselor, and Going My Way. He appeared with Bing Crosby. Despite not being the star, he was reliable, experienced, and often stole the show. His career stalled in the late 1940s despite his film success. Hollywood executives saw him as a tough performer due of his drinking and attitude. Because he was unpredictable, especially when drunk, many studios were wary of hiring him. Frawley spotted an opportunity when Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball cast I Love Lucy in 1951. He coveted the role of Fred Mertz, the penny-pinching, grouchy but charming landlord who married Vivian Vance's Ethel after hearing about the program. Frawley asked Desi Arnaz for an audition because he thought he was suitable for the job. Show producers were initially unsure. They thought Frawley's drinking would cause set issues because to his history. Desi Arnaz gave him a chance. Arnaz was strict. Frawley would be fired for missing work or arriving inebriated. Frawley concurred. Frawley arrived on time and was professional, surprising everyone. His last big shot was important, so he didn't want to mess it. He made Fred Mertz his own. He was popular for his deadpan delivery, sardonic humor, and cast chemistry. Fred Mertz was a popular 1950s TV character. Notable drinking and decline. Frawley was single his whole life. He never married again following his early 1900s brief marriage. He was notoriously discreet about his personal life, including his relationships. He lived alone and focused on work and routines. Drinking was a major topic in Frawley's life. Alcoholism has plagued him throughout his career. Before I Love Lucy, several Hollywood studios dropped him due of his antics. He was known for fighting, being late to sets, and being difficult to deal with, generally due to drinking. For I Love Lucy, Frawley was deemed highly professional. He didn't drink on set and observed Desi Arnaz's regulations. His personal drinking continued. He spent his evenings drinking alone or with pals at bars. His drinking may have harmed his off-screen relationships. He has few close castmates. His terrible relationship with Vivian Vance and unfriendly nature were well known. Some of his peers admired his talent and old-school work ethic. Frawley found new work immediately after I Love Lucy ended in 1957. He joined Fred MacMurray's family sitcom My Three Sons in 1960. Frawley played Bub O'Casey, the boy's grandfather and caretaker. He was popular in the series again with his gruff charm. My Three Sons had Frawley for 5 seasons. However, his health declined. Years of drinking and aging harmed him. He started forgetting lines, moving slower, and looking tired. Health issues forced him to leave the show in 1965, and William Demarest succeeded him. Frawley's health declined soon after leaving the show. Heart and other age-related concerns plagued him. William Frawley collapsed on a Hollywood sidewalk a week after his 79th birthday after viewing a movie. He died of a heart attack after being hospitalized. The death was met with conflicting reactions. Many in the business admired his long career and dedication to acting, while others recalled him for his difficult attitude and clashes with co-stars, especially Vivian Vance. Despite his weaknesses, William Frawley shaped television. American pop culture adopted his Fred Mertz persona, and his work shaped early TV comedy. Though imperfect, he was a memorable talent who brought one of TV's most iconic characters to life. William Frawley's story of skill, adversity, and a second chance paid off big. Next, we'll examine the behind-the-scenes drama and why Vivian Vance and William Frawley were so at odds. Dispute behind scenes. In 1951, Vivian Vance and William Frawley were simply 2 working actors playing a married couple in I Love Lucy. Their relationship started civilly. Both were accomplished pros and didn't know each other before the show. Greg Oppenheimer, son of the show's producer Jess, said they initially got along, but things quickly deteriorated. Vance's casting apprehension caused early conflict. She was in her early 40s when the show started. In contrast, Frawley was mid-60s. They were more than 20 years apart. To complicate matters, the script addressed Fred and Ethel as a long-married ordinary couple without mentioning their age gap. Vance doubted the public would accept them as a married couple. She claimed, "No one will believe I'm married to that old coot." Frawley didn't like this statement. Frawley was irritable and didn't like criticism, especially from younger actresses. He was profoundly insulted by Vance's statements. He expressed his anger by criticizing Vance. These early arguments become extremely intense. Frawley called Vance names and undermined her ability behind her back. He initially complained that she couldn't sing and shouldn't participate in musical scenes. She also annoyed him by suggesting dancing numbers. Frawley became resentful because he thought she was overstepping her responsibilities. Vance grew irritated by his behavior. Their relationship gradually deteriorated from courteous co-workers to vicious adversaries. Invited him to the American Express office. That was smart. Hello. Their feud went beyond casting. Image, dignity, and respect in a fast-changing sector were at stake. The season-long friction between Vance and Frawley became an insult war. They exchanged scathing remarks off-screen and sometimes on-screen, veiled as screenplay jokes, while acting professionally. Vivian Vance called Frawley Old Fat Freddy to poke fun. Her backstage talks and show performance sometimes included this term. Frawley countered aggressively. He recommended describing Ethel as a sack of doorknobs in the script, sources say. It was cruel to mock Vance's appearance. These slurs became common. Frawley deliberately came up with harsh one-liners. Vance reciprocated. They criticized each other openly, not just private arguments. They sometimes changed set atmosphere. Although they didn't allow their rivalry disrupt scenes or delay production, co-stars and crew could sense the animosity. Interestingly, writers sometimes cooperated. They included lines that let Fred and Ethel insult each other, letting the actors vent their real-life tensions. Their actual strife enriched Fred and Ethel's on-screen relationship, making their fighting more convincing. Both performers completed the run despite their challenges. Neither left, and both understood professionalism. Nothing changed their hatred for one another. After I Love Lucy ended, the studio investigated many options to maintain momentum. Fred and Ethel Mertz could be the basis of a spin-off. Notion made sense. Characters were popular. A show about them may get viewers. Lucy, why did you lose? The first time she stopped talking since we married. William Frawley was enthusiastic. He enjoyed playing Fred and wanted to work. Vivian Vance rejected the proposal instantly. She avoided Frawley after the original series. She also wanted to quit Ethel. Vance was tired of being typecast and didn't want to be Fred Mertz's wife for more years. Even though the spin-off offered a good salary, she declined it. Frawley was furious with her choice. He felt misled and disrespected. For him, the rejection went beyond the show. It was personal. He thought Vance was blocking a good opportunity out of spite. Some say he never forgave her. He reportedly insulted her publicly for years. Show producer Desi Arnaz was caught in the midst. After supporting Frawley and Vance, he had to control their rivalry. Arnaz was careful. He respected both actors but knew they would never collaborate.